Welcome to History B354, The Reformation. My name is Eric Sock, and I'm the instructor for this course. This talk is just a talk, basically. This is not necessarily a lecture. This is a welcome talk and designed to help you get started in this course. I mean, this is an upper division course, and it's asynchronous, 100% online. And so, if you haven't had one of these before, even though I'm assuming most people in this course have had one of these before, we've been doing a lot of these types of courses in the last several years, especially since COVID. Um, in terms of what do you do when the first day of class gets started? How do you get going in this class? The first day officially is January 8th, but you can start as soon as I publish this course, which I will do probably later in December at some point. And the first thing to do is to watch this welcome video. I will be getting into the details of the course in the first lecture. And there is a document posted in the module course documents called Introduction to the Course. It's also part of the assigned reading for the first week. And that is really where you should get started, that and looking at the syllabus. Looking at the syllabus. But just something more about the nature of this course. And again, since this is an upper division course, it's a little bit different from talking to um, freshmen or sophomores. That doesn't mean that some of you are not freshmen or sophomores. And if you are, I'm really glad you're here. For whatever reasons you're taking this course, I'm very glad you're here. This is, of course, in my area of specialty and research, and so I really enjoy teaching this course. But it's designed as an upper level course, which is usually theoretically intended for juniors and seniors. But again, if you're a freshman or sophomore, don't worry. You're most welcome. I took upper division courses as a freshman and sophomore when I was in college. They were definitely challenging, definitely challenging. But I hope certainly juniors and seniors will find this course challenging too, because if we don't challenge ourselves, what's the whole point? Because that's what education is all about, learning and challenging ourselves. But that's a whole other issue in some ways. So, okay, this is this course, Reformation. And it is a lot of reading in this course. I'll be posting lectures every week and discussions. You can look over and see how the course is organized. And the thing to do is just to get started and make sure that you know what is coming up in terms of the assignments, which I'll be talking about shortly, and trying to keep up with the reading. That's going to be really important, I think. So plan your schedules. That's one thing I think you should do to get started is look at when the due dates are, and I'll be talking about the due dates a bit more later. But look when they are and kind of plan your work accordingly, because also I'm assuming that this is not the only course most of you are taking. So try to schedule your own work time so that you'll have time to do as well as you possibly can in this course. And that's one of the advantages of online asynchronous courses, is that it gives you the freedom to work at your own pace. Now, that is a positive, but it also means that a lot more of the responsibility is on you. You will need to set the structure for yourself. There's a course structure, without question, that's intended to say, okay, if this were an in-person class, this is how we'd be doing it. But in this format of online 100% asynchronous course, you can do it as you want. I think that's one of the benefits. I mean, I much prefer teaching in person, actually. But I try to make the best of the format that's given me. I mean, I did not choose to teach this course this way. I was told this is what it was going to be, and I've taught it this way before. So it is then trying to make the best of the situation. And again, that is a positive to give you the freedom to do it as you see fit. The danger there is that you'll put it off, that you won't, you'll have other courses that are pressing for your time and other demands on your time. And you can easily get lost in this type of a course. And if you get behind, that's the problem, especially with something like this. It can be difficult to catch up, but I'll talk more about that when I get to the assignments and the requirements and things. So that's kind of basically how you go about getting started, is just you get started and you start by watching this video, this talk, this lecture, reading the syllabus, reading the introduction to the course, and going from there. That's, as I see it, there's not much more to do in terms of jumping right in. There is a textbook that is required for this course. It is the Carter Lindbergh textbook, and you will need to acquire that somehow. It should be available in the bookstore. You probably could find it more cheaply, so to speak, at least not as expensive other places, and it doesn't matter to me where you get it. Try to find it the cheapest place you possibly can. But that's the only book that you're required to buy. There's a couple other books that are assigned that are, at least most of them are, parts of those books are assigned. The books that I've written, and they're available on PDFs, posted on campus. There's a module course readings, or assigned readings, which gives all the readings, and then the individual weekly modules also post the readings for that week there. The only exception then is the readings for the textbook. And the assignments for the reading for the textbook are given on the syllabus. Now, the syllabus is a document that is posted in course documents. It is not going to just pop up for you. You'll have to click on the syllabus to see, okay, week one, what are the textbook readings? There are no textbook readings for book one for week one from the textbook, but there are assigned readings, and those are posted there in the module for week one. So that's how the syllabus is going to be really important. So you really need to pay attention to the syllabus. Because I forget if it's week two, it is, I think there begins to be assignments in the syllabus. I can actually just check, because I have the syllabus here. If you see kind of all of a sudden light coming up from behind me or in front of me, that's because I'm now looking at the syllabus. Yes, in week two, we start with Lindbergh, the textbook, introduction chapters 1 and 2. So that is something that they'll need to keep going back and forth with the syllabus. The assigned readings for the textbook are on the syllabus. Everything else is in your weekly modules. And the syllabus, again, it's not going to pop up on your calendar to say this week read Lindbergh chapters, whatever. You'll need to go to that document. So just keep that in mind as well. In terms of the requirements for this course, and again, if you look at the syllabus, you'll see there are 4 what I call text analyses based on the primary sources. And there is a document posted in course documents called Guide to Reading or Guide to Writing the Text Analyses. And that's going to be very important for you because it goes into the instructions about what's expected, let's say the rules and regulations, so to speak, in terms of writing those assignments. Each text analysis is worth 15 points for a total of then 60 points. And then there's the final essay. And the final essay is intended really to be a semester-long project. And I'll be talking more about that in the first lecture of week one. And I talk more about that too, I believe, in the introduction to the course document. So that's something that you should look at. It's all posted there. The final exam is posted already. The text analyses are already posted. The lectures are not yet all posted by any means, but certainly I will be ahead of you, I hope, and I hope I stay ahead of you. And if somehow some of you want to do as much work as you can early on, and if you get ahead of me, please let me know and we can work with that, okay, if that makes any sense. But I hope to be ahead of everybody, to be quite honest, in terms of getting the lectures posted. Let's see, what else then do I need to talk about? That covers those aspects. The discussions, that's the other aspect, because the final essay is worth 30 points. So you have 60 and 30 and then 10 for 100 points or 100% of your grade. And the discussions are there for you. There's weekly discussion posts posted in each week. I will be reading. I'll read all the discussion posts. I will be responding maybe to some, maybe not. I'll be popping in every now and then um, to comment on someone's post, um, or maybe just posting myself in the ongoing discussion. Those 10 points, don't worry about them, actually. Um, that's kind of a long story, but discussion is important. In class, discussion runs much more smoothly and easily and naturally than it does online in an asynchronous kind of way, because the whole point of discussion is to discuss, which is going back and forth. It's dialoguing with your fellow classmates and with me. It would be kind of like thinking of it as going out for a beer all together after class and talking about the material. That's kind of the idea behind it. I don't grade based on quantification. So, you know, the issue is I would hope that all of you would be inspired, stimulated, motivated to participate regularly in the weekly discussions. Um, but I don't have a formula of, saying, okay, there are 15, I think there are 15 discussions for the 15 weeks. And if you participate in 90 of them, that is, an A, and 80% of them you get a B. That's not how I go about it at all, nor is it um, grading the, let's say, qualitative nature of your posts in the discussion section. There's many different ways to be engaged, and asking questions is one of them. I mean, each discussion, I give a prompt for each discussion. And that is basically designed as, what do you think about this? Let's talk about it. And a discussion, you can say, well, I don't really know what you mean by that. What are you really meaning by that? Can you explain more? And if I see something like that in the discussions, I'll say, yeah, I can try to explain more. Or your fellow classmates can say, yeah, well, this is what I think it's like. Or this is what I think he was getting at. So it's supposed to be fluid. I don't, evaluate how many words people post. Um, that's not the point. The point is not to say, okay, this discussion post is an assignment that I have to do every week. So just as long as I post something on this damn discussion section, I'll be okay. That's not the point of it. That's not the point of it. Now, if you approach it that way, fine. I can't tell the difference from this perspective, even though I think I sort of can when I read what you write, when people write it in that way. The idea is to have some kind of interaction, because even though this is asynchronous, all online, we're still kind of a community just by participating in this course. And so that's what I'm really looking for and at. Now, if you only make posts, half of the time, we get to the end of the semester, I start to assign discussion grades after it's all over and done with. Yeah, that might not be the best. You might get knocked off for only participating in approximately half of them. But it also depends on the whole spread. If you participate in every other one, that's probably going to be fine. If you participate in the first, let's say, 7 and then never again, that's not going to be the best. It'd be better almost not to participate in the first 7 and then participate in the last 8. That would look better, so to speak, because the whole point is leading up to what you get out of this course. What do you will walk away with, so to speak, besides the grade that you get at the end? That is what the whole course is designed for, having it all come together at the end so it makes sense to you. And that is why, too, there are no firm deadlines. If you look at the syllabus, you'll say, well, wait a minute, you give due dates for each of the text analyses. And it's like, yes, I do. Those are designed to help you to say, okay, if this were an in-person class in a normal progression, these are when these assignments would be due. The only firm deadline is May 3rd by 11:59 p.m., which is the last day of class. It's when your final is not the last day of class. I'm not sure. That's always hard with these kinds of classes. It's in the middle of finals or the early part of finals or something like that. But it is when this class ends, and when your final is due. Your final essay is due May 3rd, and all work must be submitted by that time. Now, it would not be in your best interest to wait and to submit, all 4 text analyses and your final essay all on May 3rd. That would not be in your best interest. Either just to wait to submit them until then, even if you have them completed beforehand. That would not be a help, because the whole point is I will give feedback on your text analyses, and the text analyses are designed, again, to help you construct your final essay. That's what they're there for. And so we have text analysis 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the idea certainly is that you can use those text analyses in formulating your final essay, as well as using the other required source material that's assigned in the course. And again, I'll be talking a little bit more about this in the first week. And I say more about this, I believe, too, in the introduction to the course document. But take a moment to look at the whole thing before beginning, if that makes sense. So I would like you to read through the final essay assignment. You might even glance at the text analyses, start thinking about them. And then you can kind of get going with it all. So once you have a picture of the whole semester course and what it's all about and what is expected of you and what is required of you, that will help you get started in actually then doing it. That's my point here. And all along, if you have any questions about any of it, please just ask. The assignments, reading assignments, consist of selections from the textbook chapters. They consist of then the other assigned readings. One of the things that you will be reading is not all the chapters, but I think most of the chapters from my book, Luther and the Reformation of the Late Middle Ages. I know there's a couple chapters I don't assign. That's all posted there for you. And you will also be reading then, as one of the sources, the English translation of my edition and translation of Jordan of Quedlinburg's exposition of the Lord's Prayer. But that's just like one of the other sources that are required. So it's like the textbook, in terms of the assignments in the course material, textbook, lectures, my Luther book, at least for the first part of the course, and then the source documents. That's kind of how it's all put together. And then every week there's a discussion about all of that. A pointed discussion about topics for that week. The lectures, there's 2 lectures, I believe, most weeks, if not every week. Because this is really a period of history that is one of those transitional periods. It is, how do we go from medieval Europe to early modern Europe, and what makes that change? What drives historical change? Those are the bigger questions that we ask. We know that Europe in 1600 was very different than it was in 1300. The question is, that's what historians struggle with all the time. How do we get from point A to point B? How do we get from the 1300 to 1600 to see how that difference changed and what makes it change? When does it kind of shift and slip? And part of it is all about conceiving and understanding. This is a course about understanding. It's not a course about information. If this were a course about information, you wouldn't need me to teach it to you. It's about understanding, conceptions, considerations. How do we put it all together? That's what this course is. And again, I say it's the area of my expertise and my scholarship. And so I kind of know what I'm talking about here. So that for me is really exciting. And also it means that I care about all of the courses I teach, but I really care about this course, if that makes any sense. And I hope I can share my excitement with you in terms of why this is so important. I'll be addressing to the issue of religion and theology and belief and all those things in the first lecture or so. I think one of the first readings is something else that I've written, an essay basically that I've written on history, theology, and religion or something like that, which tries to say, okay, how do we approach theological topics historically as opposed from approaching them theologically? You do not have to have any background in religion or theology at all to do well in this course. You certainly do not have to have any particular religious or theological beliefs, or you may have a variety of religious or theological beliefs. Also, that's part of the challenge, is because people still do have beliefs and convictions, theological convictions that in some ways were formulated in this period. It makes it sometimes difficult to distinguish between the theology and the history. And especially when I make that distinction, which will be very important, I'll be talking more about it later in week one, I think, the distinction between historical theology and the history of theology. And what we'll be doing a fair amount of in this course is the history of theology, which just treats theology as an historical factor, as would be the history of economics, or the history of science, or the history of philosophy, the history of the peasantry, the history of the nobility, another focus for looking at the historical development of a given subject or theme. Again, I'll be talking about more of that there. But whatever your religious backgrounds, theological backgrounds, whatever your beliefs or opinions, whether you're absolutely convinced atheist, or an absolutely convinced Muslim, or an absolutely convinced Jew, or an absolutely convinced Protestant, or an absolutely convinced Catholic, you're welcome. And I hope this course will offer you something to understand your own beliefs and convictions and understandings, and challenge your understandings and beliefs. I'm not trying to undermine anybody's beliefs, but I am trying to challenge them, regardless. And why? Because if your belief can't stand up to challenge evidence, then you're just retrenching into a closed-minded opinion. So in so many ways, the challenge is a way to strengthen your own beliefs and convictions. I just hope that is clear, whatever those might be. And if you have any questions about any of that, or if you want to ask about what are the theological implications of this, how does this, fit in with X, Y, or Z, please email me. I'm happy to talk about that with you individually. I have no problems talking theology individually. But this course is a course in a state university, and the point is, we can't understand what happens between 1300 and 1600 and how Europe changes without talking about the theology. Even though this is not a course about theology, and it's not a course about religion. It's a course about historical change, historical development, and how we understand that, how we conceptualize it, how we describe it, and what does it all mean for us individually, and for the larger perspective of the history of Europe within the context of the history of the world. Oh, wow, that's pretty grandiose, isn't it? That's how important it is for me. If you have any questions, just ask. And I think that just about covers it for this welcome and getting started course. I hope by now you know what to do when you first, click on this module, open your course. What do you do? I'll be also sending an announcement that I hope probably everybody should read first, saying basically watch this video lecture, read the syllabus, read the introduction to the course, and get started. And I will post that announcement when I publish the course, which, as I said, will probably be in later December. Everything will be available once it's published, except for the assignments. The assignments and discussions aren't available until January 1st. So a week before the course officially begins. So if anybody is really gung-ho, wants to knock out the first 2 text analyses before the course begins, that could be difficult, but if so, email me and we can work a way around that as well. But anyway, that's kind of just to let you know what's going to happen. Again, I hope you will reach out and talk with me for whatever reason you want. We can arrange individual Zoom sessions. If need be, we can even meet in person in my office. But I'm here to help. I'm here to construct the course and offer the course, but also to help you through it. That's how I see my role here. And the more interaction we can have, I think, rightly or wrongly, the better it is, and the better for your learning and understanding it will be. So please don't be shy about sending me an email and saying, "Can we discuss this?" or whatever. And that is certainly the case if there are any problems that you encounter during the semester with the course itself, or with life in general, or with whatever that might impinge upon your performance in the course. Reach out to me. Okay, that's it's always better to do so before the real problems hit than afterwards. But likewise, if you're really excited about this course and are doing really well and want to talk more about it, reach out to me as well. There's nothing, there's almost no aspect that I can think of that I would say, "Well, don't talk to me about that," unless you just want to, talk about, your dog and your boyfriend or girlfriend or significant other or whatever you want. That's really not my role, and I probably can't help very much with that anyway. Um, for all kinds of reasons. But anyway, I hope you are knowing what I'm getting at here by this. In terms of this course, everything is open. And I welcome you. Wherever you are coming from, whatever your background, whatever your experience, whatever reasons you have or had to have registered for this course, I'm glad you're here, and I hope if I hope you're glad already that you're here, but I really hope that by the end of the term on May 4th, you'll say, "Boy, that was really worth it. That was really worth it. I got something out of it. I learned something. It changed how I view everything." That's my goal. Grandiose as well. But we'll see as we go along. So thank you for listening. Good luck, and I'm looking forward to talking to you during lectures twice a week. Again, reach out with any thoughts or questions or problems you might have, and I hope you have a great semester. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.